Hi, it's Lee from the Japanese Water Gardens. This is part 3 of my series of short videos detailing the construction of a quarantine system at the Japanese Water Gardens. In part 2 we trenched out and installed bottom drains, then we built up a 4 by 1 inch timber framework. The plan is to get the system up and running before the new season starts in the spring. So we've been working hard over the last few weeks. The timber frame was lined out with sheets of 9mm exterior grade plywood. Each of the panels were measured out, then cut with the circular saw. We held the panels in place, then secured them to the frame with several short screws. Behind the panels, I packed the void with loft insulation. This will help to reduce any heat loss from the system. We then cut more plywood to form corner pieces for each of the bays. The edges of the plywood were cut on a 45-degree angle to aid in the fitting. To hold them in the corners, I just held them up and fastened them with several screws. The corner pieces are not essential to the design, but they do have some advantages. They will provide additional support and strength to the structure. Most importantly, they round out the corner and help with the netting of the fish. Being able to safely and efficiently net fish is essential to the whole operation. When all the panels were in place, the structure was extremely stiff and rigid. At this stage, you could really begin to appreciate just how strong this structure was going to be. We wanted to create dish-shaped bases that gently slope into the bottom drains. This helps to prevent an accumulation of sediment in the bay bottoms. The method that we use for this is foolproof and inexpensive. We visited the builder's yard behind the Totem Park and Ride and found a selection of reclaimed bricks and broken slabs. They were just what we were looking for. The bricks were stacked too high around the edge of the bays. Then the next row was stacked 1 brick high. Then we filled the centre section with sections of broken slab and some rubble. We then scattered a dry mix across the bottom and worked it in to fill all the voids. This would not be possible with a standard wet concrete. I was very tired after all 4 bays. So we left for home and I got some rest, ready for an early start the next day. The next morning, I left home early to beat the rush hour traffic. We had 4 bays to be concreted, and I did not want to have to rush things. Since the side panels had been put up, I had been struggling to see clearly, and it was necessary to bring in some extra lighting. The lights are little LED festoon pods, daisy chained together, perfect for a job such as this. They are just screwed into place or can be held with some cable ties. We then started to mix up some concrete. The ratio was roughly 5 part ballast to 1 part cement. We made sure to keep it quite thick so that it would not slump forward into the bottom drains. Whilst one of us mixed up the concrete, the other worked the concrete down with a board to form the slope. The finish was not critical. Any small holes would be filled in afterwards. After all 4 bases were done, I was completely filthy and covered in concrete. When I got home, I realised that my knees were red raw through kneeling in concrete all day. A hot bath, loads of E45 cream and an early night helped to put them on the mend. The next day I called at the builder's merchant and picked up some bags of sand to render the bases. Thanks for helping loading the sand, guys. I mixed up the sand with some cement to make a render for the bases. There were lots of little holes that needed filling. Around the edges I filled the gaps and smoothed it into the bottom drains. The only thing that was a little awkward was working into the corners. I kept putting my feet into the render and messing up where I'd already smoothed over. In the end, after some hanging over the edge and huffing and puffing, I left it to dry out. Over the next week, we are going to be getting the bays ready for fiberglassing. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video, and if you're not already subscribed to the channel, then please do so. Give the video a thumbs up and post some questions in the comments below. It's bye for now. From Lee at the Japanese Wood Gardens.